Hi everyone, it's Barry from Jerusalem. This week's Torah Parsha is Emor. Emor deals with what's happening between the time of Pesach and Passover and Shavuos. Next week will be the 33rd day of the Omer, which is Lag BaOmer. What does this symbolize, this period time? This was a time where Jews were in their history was a time where of conflict, many conflicts where they were attacked, this and that. So on the 33rd of this month Iyar, which is the month after Passover, there were two basic events. One was the death of a great rabbi called Rab Shimon Bar Yochai in Meron. And another event was the second chance that the Jews had to give the Pesach offering if they didn't do it the first time. So the Parsha Emor starts off with talking about you will have to be pure to be able to even present a sacrifice. Now, this Passover sacrifice was a very important sacrifice. It was a Torah command to do it. But if you were not in the state of Kedusha, by, for example, touching a dead person, you become in a different state. The opposite of Kedusha, it's like called Tuma. It's an impure state. Kedusha is a pure state. The whole concept of Torah is to try to elevate the soul of the Jewish person to a higher level of Kedusha. That's why in this period between the Omer count, which starts counting after Pesach, after Passover, the second day. So they're counting up to Shavuot, where we actually receive the Torah. So the Jews in the desert were confronted with no real problems in terms of once they received the Torah, 49 days in the desert. However, historically speaking, these were the days of mourning for Jewish, because these were the times when Jews were attacked. Rabbi Akiva's students stopped suffering. He lost 24,000 students during this period, and this was on the day called Lag BaOmer. Lag BaOmer is the 33rd day of the Omer, and this has to do with, as I mentioned before, Rav Shimon Bar Yochai. So it's actually a happy day in the elevation between Passover and Shavuos, but it's symbolic of what happened to the rabbi. And it's not that well understood or known, because he was one of the major Kabbalists of the time, and what he tried to do under the Roman conquest, it was forbidden to learn Torah, so he had to hide in a cave with his disciples, with people that he was teaching, and he would be up to his neck in dirt, and when he would see the enemy, he would cover himself. And he did this for many, many years, and he suffered. When he came out, he had boils and this and that, and he had to, go into the hot springs of Tiberias to kind of like heal himself. But he gave everything to continue the tradition. Now, in the beginning of the world, when God looked into the Torah and he created the world, there was a certain light. And there was a hidden light. This hidden light is attributed to the day here on the 33rd Lag BaOmer, in this period where people make little fires symbolic of this light. What he attempted to do was to teach the oral tradition, which was really forbidden. It had to be released in a certain time period. However, he felt, and he believed that if he didn't give it over at this time under the Roman persecution, that the Torah may be forgotten. So God, Hashem, gave him the permission to go ahead, share this hidden tradition at Mount Sinai, revealing the ultimate secrets of the Torah. There are many levels of the Torah, as I mentioned in previous videos. But the thing is this: on Lag BaOmer, the killing stops, so to speak. It's a happy day. It's a day where we're embracing the light of Torah that was released to the disciples of Rav Shimon Bar Yochai. So, on the same level, in this parsha, which is Amor, it starts off with this idea of being kadosh. Hashem in the previous parsha said, he said, "Tiyat kadosh ki ani kadosh." I want you people, you Jewish people, to be holy and sanctify yourselves, do my laws, carry them out, because I'm holy. And when we do the Torah and the mitzvahs, this light of the Torah, this light of Rav Shimon Bar Yochai, this is the light that is for every generation. And it's the righteous person, the righteous Jew, who can actually tap into this light, tap into the source, that he, in essence, is like a creator with the creator. What do I mean? In other words, the light and power of a tzaddik is to transform judgments. So if there was a judgment of 24,000 students of Rabbi Akiva, one of the greatest rabbis in the Talmud, and they stopped dying on this day, Lag BaOmer, this is a big illumination. And he died actually on this day. So today, like next week, they'll be having these bonfires. We've had a few fires from the south, from our enemies. They sent about 100, Katyusha missiles to us. But we're just continuing being who we are as Jews. And our enemies will be taken care of. We don't worry about that. But what I'm trying to give over here in this Torah is that the power of learning Torah, and with the love of God and the fear of God, can bring any individual, anyone, any Jew who learns Torah can reach the level of a tzaddik. What is a tzaddik? A tzaddik is someone who has fear and love of Hashem, and that he is surrounded and he's trying very hard to do self-analysis and to try to follow the Torah in a way that's going to give greater understanding to himself, to his family, to the world. But the 70 nations don't really figure this out. They don't really understand. They don't really see us. Even Bilam, the one that wanted to curse the Jewish people when they were coming from Transjordan into the land, because they were commanded to come into the land. Now, if the Jews didn't go into the land, if they didn't follow the mission on the request of God, then they would be destroyed by God himself. So we understand that we have a mission here as Jews. And the 70 nations have to understand that as ambassadors to Hashem, the Jewish people, when they're united, they can move mountains. They can create wonderful things for themselves and for all the nations. So in this Parsha Amor, we are tuning in to this concept of Kedusha. And in next week's Parsha Bahar, this is where Hashem revealed himself on the mountain to let mankind know that there has to be some type of standard of purity, of decency, of justice. See, din is justice. Din is judgment. So judgment has to come either from the heavens. It all comes from the heavens. But the power of a tzaddik is that if he grows in his Torah knowledge and his wisdom to such a level that even though on Rosh Hashanah, on the holiest day of the year, where judgment is for not only the Jews, for all the 70 nations, that even on Rosh Hashanah, his prayer and his intervention can actually change a judgment created 9 months earlier. This is the power of the Jewish people. So as we elevate our souls as Jews during this period, you see every year, every time between Passover and Shavuos, Passover was the liberation, the exodus, the freedom of the Jewish people to grow in their connection with Hashem, on condition that they follow his Torah. That's the freedom. The freedom to be free is to move away from yourself and your ego and start to learn about what it is to be for others. And that's what the Jewish nation is about. It's about unity, not only just for the Jewish people, but for the whole world. But our enemies, they send rockets from the north, from the south. Little Israel, the size of New Jersey, very small. We're only like 0.2% of the people in the world. Yet there's so much focus on destroying Israel. What kind of bad things are we doing? What are we trying to do? You know? Why is it that Iran 2,500 years ago tried to destroy the Jews and the same thing happened then? Make a little connection here. These are the forces of the world still going. And it says in Masechet, in the tractate of the Gemara, the Jews will experience for between 6,000 and 7,000 years before another redemption will come. This will be the ultimate redemption of the Mashiach, of the way in which Hashem will come back to this world to straighten out all the nations, not just the Jewish people. Everybody's going to be revealed again. The revelation will come again, you see? So people might say, the non-Jews might say, oh, well, these Jews, they think they're chosen. No. We have a job to do, basically. And if we don't do it, then we're being lost to our own self, our own tribe. And then we absolve into the greater culture. But the nations of the world say, hey, you can't be separate and different than us. Well, nations of the world, we are when we practice our Torah and mitzvahs. And we are the candle to the world. We are the light upon the nations. To kind of get you to see what is the wisdom of the Jewish people and how do you access it. And once you access it as a Jew, then you can grow. And but if you're arrogant, if you have a big ego, and if it's all about me, it's not about the nation, it's not about the community, it's not about my country, but if it's only about me, then you're missing the whole point. And what's happening is, me in this world today is the greatest trend of all nation states, where anything goes. In other words, the creation of man in the world has no divine governor. We govern our own places and we govern our own life. What has it done? What has it done for the nations around the world? If we look all around the world, every nation is like in turmoil, fighting this and this. The Torah teaches us, no, make peace. Make peace between you and man. How do you do that? You have to lower yourself. You have to kind of understand what it is that the values of the Torah are trying to give to the world, not just to the Jewish people. Once you understand that these values are for everybody, maybe you should start thinking about these thugs who are trying to destroy the world and try to cooperate with the Jewish people and try to be this messenger, because it's going to happen. We're almost 6,000 years. We're only a few hundred years away. And then the bottom line is, whoever's with the Jews is blessed, and whoever curses the Jews is cursed. Even Bilam, Bilam, who tried to curse the Jews, came out of his mouth. God just said, "Hey, who gave you the right to curse my people?" So instead of when we enter the synagogue, we have the curse of Bilam, which is actually came out in the words, "Ma tovu olecha mishkenei Yisrael." How goodly are the tents, Jacob, the dwelling places of Israel. Israel was going through the desert on their way, and this guy tried to curse them. And God put in his mouth the power to bless them. So who's in control? Man or God? I leave that question to you. But anyway, this day specifically is a second chance. The second chance to do the sacrifice for those who were tameh, who were impure during the time of the Passover sacrifice. And this is the day also of the Omer, the 29th of the Omer. And after we count 49 days, then we receive the Torah. Next week, Parsha is Bahar. That was the giving of the Torah, Mount Sinai. Hope to get another video out by then. Have a good Shabbos, everyone. Have a good Pesach Sheni is today in Israel. Shabbos is in a few hours in Israel. And I think next week earlier, is the 33rd. In 4 days will be the Lag BaOmer. Oh, one last idea with Lag BaOmer. We know that when God created the world, he opened up this Torah that he created with the holy letters, and he said, from this I'm creating the world. And we see this from Lag BaOmer. Lag, Lamed Gimel, is in Gematria. I spoke of this concept before. In other words, Gematria is the mathematic way we uncover the hidden secrets of Torah. So like Aleph is 1, Bet is 2, Gimel is the number 3. Lamed Gimel is 30 plus 3 is 33. That's also the holiday of Lag BaOmer, this 33rd, that we'll be celebrating the bonfires next week in Israel. They don't do it in the States. Only people here in Israel do it. So when Moses got the 5 books of Moses, or received the Torah on Mount Sinai, that I'll speak up again about next week, just to know, if you count 33 words from the very first word, Bereshit bara et Elokim et Shamayim ve'et haaretz, and it goes up to 33 words, that 33rd word is Or, which means light. So Lamed Gimel of Lag BaOmer is that light that Rav Shimon Bar Yochai was able to reveal to his students. So we today have access to that light, and that light is Chachma, that light is wisdom, that light is the knowledge of what is God's purpose for the world, not just the Jewish people, for the whole world, so we all can live in peace. So with that in mind, have a good Shabbos. Know that light is a reflection of the Hebrew letters and the Chachma, of the wisdom of the Jewish people. And that is what learning Torah is all about. Taking that light, bringing it into your life, and move forward and grow as an individual with fear and love of Hashem. Good Shabbos from Jerusalem.